A breath that descends deep into the pelvis and fills the bowl of the pelvis. And just concentrate on the breath filling the bowl of the pelvis and then release it. Can we begin to breathe with muscles deeper in the body and not overuse the neck and chest and shoulders? And then let's invite the breath to rise up to the level of the navel, filling the whole circumference of the abdomen to the navel. Let the whole circumference of this lower abdomen expand. And release. The hot air balloon still lifting you skyward. Still expansive across the collarbones. But soft. Let's invite the breath up to the lowest circle of ribs, expanding from pelvic floor up to this circle in each direction. Like if we imagine a stone dropped into a pond, the ripples out. And let's begin to engage our Ujjayi breath, inhaling the ah sound through the nostrils and exhaling the ha sound through the nostrils. Feeling the ocean waves of breath wash in and expand the whole abdomen. The lower back and the side waists. Can we settle our mind onto these waves of washing breath? Inhaling the ah and exhaling the ha, riding the waves. And as you follow the waves into the body, filling from pelvic floor to lowest circle of ribs, can you ride into the sensations of the breath? Can you still invite the hot air balloon to lift you so that you can relax the spine down to the sit bones? Imagining that you can breathe sky between the vertebrae, sky between the ribs. Let's inhale now up to the heart center, the center of the sternum. And filling from pelvic floor up past the navel, past the lowest ribs. Let's expand all of these sets of lower ribs. And feel how when you breathe yourself wide side to side, the ribs may pull away from the spine a little bit, creating space. Oftentimes it's when these ribs get locked in next to the vertebrae that we feel tight and stiff in the spine. So we breathe ourselves towards more ease, more freedom of movement. And breathing into the heart center, we can draw prana, draw healing life force energy into the heart. And we can exhale any stagnant energy that we want to let go. Breathing in clear life force energy. Exhaling stagnation, exhaust. Let's now inhale all the way up to the collarbones and the tops of the shoulder blades. Hot air balloon still lifting us. Can the shoulders relax away from the ears on the exhales? As we inhale, can there be a gentle lift at the heart and inner collarbones? And can we breathe into the whole circumference of the torso? Feeling the ribs lift and relax, like they too are riding the ocean waves. Head resting gently back. Neck crease smiling gently back. Hot air balloon lifting us. We breathe sky between the vertebrae. And I offer you this poem this morning by Dana Falls. Breath of life. I breathe in all that is. Awareness expanding to take everything in, as if my heart beats the world into being. From the unnamed vastness beneath the mind, I breathe my way to wholeness and healing. Inhalation, exhalation, each breath a yes and a letting go, a journey and a coming home. Each breath a yes and a letting go, a journey and a coming home. Let's inhale our hands to our hearts. May we expand our awareness and ride the breath through our practice today. And namaste. Okay, let's come on up to standing. And let's just begin with some opening awareness in the body, looking down at our feet, heels beneath our sit bones. Let's bring these second metatarsals that go from center of the ankle to second toe parallel with each other, unless you know that it's better for your body otherwise. And then let's lift our toes, lift the arches of our feet, and then relax the toes. And let's draw energy up the back of the calf, through the knee and down the shin, so that our tibia comes slightly forward under the femur bone, and let energy roll down the backs of the legs, through the knees, up the quads, through the groins. Aligning the knee. Let's feel the pelvis now atop the femur bones. And let's find a balance there. Hands on our hips, let's tip the pelvis forward as if we were pouring water out the front of the pelvis. And then let's lift back up and take the pelvis back as if we were pouring water out the back body. Notice how the pelvis and femurs push forward. Now come back upright and hollow the groins, but let the tailbone descend. Nice lumbar curve lifting out of the pelvis. Let the hot air balloon lift you skyward. And let your shoulder girdle relax away from the lift. And let your head rest back. Let's inhale and let the arms lift skyward as the tailbone descends and the feet root. And let's stretch the thumbs skyward, lifting the low back ribs away from the pelvis, breathing expansively into the rib cage, broadening the side bodies away from each other. Can you feel balanced in your feet? The whole circumference of your heel, big toe ball mound, pinky toe ball mound, rooting. Knees aligned, pelvis upright, spine reaching out towards the sky. Let's exhale and let the arms slowly descend like wings of birds. And then let's lift the right shoulder skyward and then let it relax back and down on the back body in a circle, lifting the left shoulder and relaxing it down, circling one shoulder and then the other shoulder. Feel how lifting the head of the arm bone stretches the rib cage and moves the shoulder blade on the back body. Inhaling up and exhaling the release, moving nice and slow so you can feel into this inner landscape of the upper body. Fluid breath and fluid motion. Humerus bone coming up, back and down, shoulder blade moving on the rib cage. Fluid breath and fluid motion. Still listening to the Ujjayi sound. Letting the shoulder relax back and down with each exhale. Oftentimes we're so overactive in the upper trap and the muscles of the neck that it's hard to do the releasing action. So focus on the relaxed movement of the shoulder. And now let's circle both shoulders up together and relax them both down. Humerus bone moving and stretching open. The rotator cuff, fluid breath. And then let's pause, shoulder girdle releasing away, let the head stretch skyward and float your arms up into a T, turning the left palm up and the right thumb down and under. We externally rotate the left arm and internally rotate the right. And then we switch. And switch. Now we're turning the humerus bone in the shoulder socket, finding our internal rotation and our external rotation to balance. For a long time in yoga, we didn't pay enough attention to actually working the internal rotation, but it would happen accidentally in poses like chaturanga and cause shoulder injuries. Now, instead, let's develop awareness in the shoulder girdle, turning the humerus bone thoughtfully, feeling the movement of the shoulder blade and getting to know this part of our inner landscape. And then let's come back to center and release the arms and pause with the breath. Shoulder blades, loving hands on the back body, palms turn forward, thumbs turn out, broadening across the collarbones. Can we release the shoulder girdle and let the hot air balloon lengthen the spine? Fluid breath here, inhaling into the whole circumference of the torso, from pelvic floor to the tops of the shoulder blades. Feel the breath roll up the back body, bringing your awareness of the back body to life. Let's inhale and reach the arms skyward again, palm facing palm, and grounding the left foot, stretch the right arm skyward, and then switch and switch. Fluid breath, stretching ourselves open. See if you can feel the myofascia stretching between the ribs. Feel space opening on the side you're stretching. Move slow and really try to feel the sensations. There's research on the physical body now that shows when we make conscious connection, we'll use that conscious connection unconsciously. So we stretch open and we feel into the space we're creating. And then let's root both feet, reach both hands skyward, and then release the arms like wings of birds. Hot air balloon lifting us skyward, shoulder girdle relaxing away from the lift. And let's float the wrists skyward, the fingers tracking behind, and then let the wrists come down and the fingers float behind. And let your arms just move with fluid ease up. You don't have to get to the top of your range of motion. Let the elbows be soft and see if your arms can just become more like water, like they're seaweed washing in a moving ocean. We inhale the lift of the arms, and we exhale the slow and easeful release of the arms. Like water is moving us, like water is moving through us. Inhaling the ah and exhaling the ha. Relaxing the nervous system so the body can release more fully. And then arms down to the side, step your feet out or hip distance wide and stretch the left arm across to the left, bending the left knee, reach, and then follow the other arm across to the right and let your body wash like an ocean, reaching from one continent, then across to the other. And let your whole body become water, washing side to side. Let there be space and sky inside the washing water body, between the bones, so you can have more fluid movement. In the joints, so you can have more fluid movement. Inhaling one direction and exhaling the other. Slow, body following breath. Stretching the myofascial network open so that the bones, which are thought of now more as spacers than as a structure we hang our muscles and skin on. Spacers, let's create space around the spacers. And then let's come back to center. And let's step the feet wide and turn the left foot out, aligning heel to heel, taking the right heel back slightly. Let's open into star pose and bring the arms up into goalpost position. Finding the shoulder blades on the back body, letting the hot air balloon lift you from the palate. Feel the shoulder blades, loving hands on the back, and turn the palms to face the head and let the arms open. And can you rest the upper neck and shoulder and feel like the area beneath the waistline and the outer shoulder blade is lifting the arms. And then bend the left knee out over the second metatarsal, Virabhadrasana 2. Now palms are up, eyes of the elbows are up. Can we keep the eyes of the elbows up and turn the palms down? And then inhale, bringing right hand around to left and exhaling through the heart. Can we still feel the lift of the arms from beneath the arms instead of holding them up by the muscles of the neck and shoulder, upper shoulder? We inhale and we exhale. Smooth ocean wave breath. And then let's pause and bring the right fingers lightly to the right back leg. Left palm turns up and we breathe space between the vertebrae, opening the spine. And then let's exhale, lengthening the left side body, bringing the left forearm to the femur. Let's take the right arm long and stretch from outer right foot through each finger, breathing space between the ribs, space along the spine. Can we even breathe up into the heart center, letting it expand? Stabilizing the lower body, grounding the feet. We inhale and float back up, straightening the front leg, turning the left leg in from the femur and the right leg out. Heel to heel alignment. We inhale and float the arms up and rest the upper neck and shoulder, bending the right knee over the second metatarsal. Let's turn the palms up again, eyes of the elbows up, and then turn the palms down. Feel the outer shoulder blade. See if you can work from the outer shoulder blade, bringing the back hand around towards the front and exhaling it through the heart. We inhale the ah and exhale the ha. Tuning into breathing into the full circumference of the torso, even in each asana. And inviting the breath to help us open the myofascia. Let's pause here, bringing the left fingertips lightly to the leg, the right arm up, coming into your dancing warrior. Fluid breath, feet grounded, spine inviting sky between the vertebrae, even in the back side body. And then let's exhale back up, reach the right arm forward and come down onto the forearm and lengthen the left arm so that we create a long line from the left foot through the fingertips. Fluid breath. Can you breathe opening into that left side body? Feet grounding through their four corners, arches lifted, energy running up the calves, through the knees, down the shins. We're stable so that we can breathe freedom into the spine. And then let's exhale and float back up and straighten the front leg, turning it in from the femur and stepping together and pausing with the breath. Fluid breath. Okay, letting the shoulder blades rest on the back body, opening across the collarbones. Feel as if you were laying in Shavasana with the floor behind your back. Can you broaden the shoulder girdle and rest it away from the lift of the hot air balloon one more time? And then let's take this posture to the floor. So we'll lie down. You may want a pillow, and if you have a yoga block, please bring it in. And then I have a blanket roll here or a small bolster to do a supine back bend over in a few minutes. Okay, so block, blanket roll or bolster. And then if you need a pillow beneath your head to have your gaze perpendicular to the floor, your gaze straight up into the sky, then bring a pillow in. If you're looking back over your eyebrows, you have a shortened neck, which is really common. And we want to make sure we can elongate the neck towards healthy postural alignment. And then let's rest the shoulders broad. Let the palms rest up, thumbs turn out. Feet come in, heels aligned with sit bones in constructive rest. And now can you breathe three-dimensionally into your abdomen, into your thoracic cavity. Exhaling, relaxing into the hug of gravity. Releasing tension from the pelvis, the belly, along the spine. And then let's nod the head yes, and place one set of fingers at your hairline. And almost lift your head off the ground from this hairline, letting your chin relax back, your neck crease deepen. Don't actually lift the head off the ground. Almost lift from the hairline that you're touching. Most of us tend to lift the head by jutting the chin. I don't know, most of us, but a frequent habit. Now release the head. So just take about 20% of the weight in the beginning and try to lift the head from the hairline. So you're not lifting off the ground, or you'll activate side and back of the neck muscles, trying to help you wake up to the front neck flexors. And then release. And one more time, gentle nod, nose towards mouth. We don't take the chin totally towards the sternum, that would be overdoing it. And we almost lift from the hairline. It's like someone's tractioning us from the base of the skull. And feel those front neck flexors. We want to strengthen them. And then release. And let your eyes and jaw and neck relax. Let the head of your arm bones rest heavy into gravity. And then release your lower jaw from your upper jaw and take it back and forth like a grasshopper. Like a grasshopper chewing. Let the lower jaw move back and forth. Releasing the jaw. And then let the jaw hang open and be relaxed. It may descend a little into gravity. Head of the arm bones resting back, float one foot up, one shin parallel to the ground. And then float it back down, landing light as a feather. And then float the other leg up and float it down, landing light as a feather. Now, can you do this slow and easeful movement with the legs and let the head of the arm bones rest back? Let the shoulder girdle stay broad and the neck relaxed. Can you begin to work from the lower ribs down through the pelvis to the legs? And let the upper body just be heavy and relaxed, and that heaviness help you ground. The hands are relaxed, the forearms. Now let's see if we can float one leg up, shin parallel to the ground. I call this tabletop. And then shoulders broad, humerus bones relaxing heavy. Can you draw the other leg up to join it? Now, if this doesn't feel good in your lower back, you can bring your feet down and bring a block in under your sacrum or a blanket. If it's okay, exhale, one set of toes towards the floor, keeping your knee at a right angle, and don't come all the way to touching. And then the next leg. So it's like 1 foot toe dips, but the knee stays at a right angle so that we start working with our psoas. But today, as we work this core movement, see if you can keep your consciousness also in your shoulder girdle broad and your humerus bones relaxing back. So we develop core strength without rolling the thoracic spine forward. We stay broad and open, and the shoulders become a grounding force, the low back ribs a grounding force. And then come back up to your tabletop and take 1 foot, shin and knee out to the side like the page of a book opening. And then exhale back to center. And then inhale, take the other leg out and exhale to center. Can your shoulders stay broad, your humerus bones grounded? And can you work from the low ribs down through the abdomen into the legs? Hands relaxed, forearms relaxed, waking up the abdominal core. Inhaling out and exhaling in, smooth and slow. Trying to keep the rest of the body still as one limb moves. And then coming back to tabletop, draw your right knee in and stretch your left leg out at about a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to switch and switch and switch. Can your shoulder girdle stay broad? Your humerus bones grounded as you move the lower body? Can we keep an awareness and awakeness in the upper body, even in our standing yoga poses? This is training for that. Base of the skull gently tractioning away from shoulders, natural cervical curve to the spine, gaze straight up. And now bringing the legs back to table, float one back of hand onto the other palm behind your head. And exhale, lift the right elbow, lengthening the right leg out at that same angle. Lift the right elbow, lift from the right shoulder blade, and then exhale and switch. Lifting the left elbow, feel how it interconnects with the shoulder blade. Rest the head into the hands, long back of neck. We switch and switch and switch, waking up the obliques. The head rests back into the hands. The elbow reaches skyward, connected to the shoulder, connected to the rib cage. And we work from taking one set of low ribs across towards the opposite hip pointer. So right ribs towards left hip pointer, left ribs towards right hip pointer. Back and forth, waking up the obliques, head resting back, spine long. Find your breathing pattern, whether it's an inhale, inhale, exhale, exhale, or perhaps you go 3 motions. Inhale, 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 exhale, exhale, exhale. Long spine, space between the vertebrae. And come back to center and release the head, the arms, palms up, thumbs out. Head of the arm bones resting. Float one foot to the floor and then the other. Pressing your pillow out, letting your arms rest broad. Let's inhale, lift the pelvis. And exhale, lower the pelvis. Inhaling, lift. Exhale, let the pelvis float towards the floor. Feet grounded, inhale the lift and exhale the lower. Fluid breath, shoulders broad. And then let's lift to the top and pause, reaching the tailbone towards the calves, towards the backs of the knees. Long, low back, shoulders broad and relaxed. Draw your sit bones towards one another like they're magnets, and then release. And then draw them towards each other and release. Towards each other and release, waking up your glutes. One more, towards each other, release, and soften at the heart center and roll down one vertebrae at a time, inviting sky between the vertebrae. And rest in constructive rest, relaxing the shoulders, the jaw, the eyes. Fluid Ujjayi breath. Can you relax a little more deeply into gravity with each exhale? Can you invite in healing prana on the inhales? Can you breathe into your own awareness? Okay, let's gently roll ourselves over and come up into a side plank. So you can roll your mat under if you need a little more padding under your forearm. Elbow beneath shoulder, heels aligned with sit bones. We'll inhale, and you can almost lift your hip off the ground and activate this lower side body if you have shoulder or arm issues and you don't want to come up. And that'll still strengthen the lower side, or you can lift in a rainbow and take the arm overhead. And then exhale and lower back down. So it moves with the breath, inhaling the ah and exhaling the ha. Fluid breath, fluid movement. Stay in your own breath cycle with your own breath pattern. And then you can stay with this or lift into the side plank here. You can stay with that or lengthen the bottom leg, bring the upper foot perpendicular to the body and lift into a side plank here. Whatever's best for your body, don't push too hard. From the shoulder blades, reach out both wings, grounding the lower arm, reaching the upper arm. But still stay conscious of the shoulder blades on the back body, lengthening the head out from the shoulders. And let's release. And let's take it to the other side. Again, feel free to roll in your mat if you need a little more padding under your elbow. Make sure your elbow's under your shoulder or a little towards the head of the mat, not towards your hip to protect it. Heels aligned with sit bones. We inhale up and we exhale, release. Feel for the lower body activation. So can we feel that line along the side body? Strengthening the core isn't just the abdominal core, it's waking up the side body awareness, which will help us in poses like Trikonasana, Parsvakonasana, Ardha Chandrasana. Fluid breath, inhaling up and exhaling. Stay with your Ujjayi sound. Stay with awareness of the spine, even at this funny position where the head still rests back. Now you can stay with these, or you can lift into your side plank here, or lengthen the leg and lift into your side plank here. Wherever you are, feel into the strength of the underside body. Find awareness of shoulder blades on the back, lengthening head out of the shoulder girdle. And then release. Let's come on to hands and knees. Spreading the fingers evenly. Look down at your hands and plug in the index finger knuckle. We want to keep a balanced wrist crease, and we have a tendency to roll out to the pinky finger side. So keeping that index finger knuckle plugged in, plug in each finger pad so that the middle knuckles kind of lift off the ground, which will help us lift the arch of the palm. And take your left foot back. Strong down into the arms, into the hands. You can almost lift the right shin, ankle, and knee off the floor, or you can lift them off an inch or so and float the leg above the floor, or you can step back into a full plank. So I'm trying to provide options for a mixed level class. You can almost lift the leg, activating the core, lift the shin an inch off the floor, or come into your full plank. One other option would be to come into half plank with your knees bent and on the floor. We pause here, we find the length of the back of the neck, the base of the skull tractioning away from the base of the neck. And then let's step one knee down and the other, and take an inhaled cow, and then exhaled cat. And inhaling the cow, drawing hands isometrically towards the knees, lengthening the neck out of the shoulder girdle. And then exhaling the cat. Can you spread the back of the spine and create space between the vertebrae? Can you stay with your Ujjayi? Inhaled ah, and exhaled ha. And let's come back to neutral and take the right foot back. Grounding into the hands evenly, index finger knuckles engaged, almost float or float the shin off the floor. Pause here or step back into your full plank. When you're in a plank, you want to make sure the pelvis is lifted. Even if it's in a bit of a pike, that's better than dropping the pelvis into a back bend. We want to be supported from the front core. Now see if you can lengthen the spine, lengthen the body from pelvis through heels, from pelvis through the back of the head, base of the skull lifting away from the pelvis. And then float the knees back to the floor, open the knees wide, and roll back into your child's pose, hands forward. Inhaling breath up the back body to the tops of the shoulder blades. Exhaling, releasing into the hug of gravity. Feel for the breath washing into tight tissue and invite the exhale to release the tightness, the stiffness. Inhaling space and sky into the body so that we can move fluidly like water. Let's walk the hands around to the left, stretching the right side body from sit bone to right fingertips. Fluid breath through the myofascia of the right side body. Really feeling into this inner landscape and inviting a release, a letting go if your body's ready for that. An opening, an awakening. And then let's come back through center, around to the right, stretching from left sit bone to left fingertips. Breathing into the left side of the body. Inviting the breath deep into the tissue as a massage. The exhale can then be a tractioning, a relaxing into opening. And then let's walk the hands back to center, at least shoulder distance wide, fingers evenly spread, index finger knuckles engaged, each finger pad awake. Let's roll back into bent knee downward dog. Now from the index finger knuckle, lengthen up the upper arm bones through the humerus to the shoulders and let the head float a little skyward. And then imagine someone tractioning the base of the skull. So oftentimes we drop the head too far between the arms. Let the neck be long. Stretch from the fingertips up through the arms, up along the side bodies to the sit bones, and then take your femur bones back. Can you breathe space all along the spine? More important than bringing the heels to the floor is a long spine with space between the vertebrae. Fluid breath. Base of the skull releasing. Let's exhale and step the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet, bending the knees in standing child's pose. Let the head relax away from the pelvis. And then if you've had enough activity today that you can open into an uttanasana, feel free to do that. If not, stay in the standing child's pose, even to the point where the legs are bent so much and the torso and abdomen can rest on the legs. If this doesn't work in your upper body, you can bring blocks under your hands. And then let's unhinge, knees bend, palate lifts in line with heart, in line with pelvis, and reach the arms skyward. Exhaling the hands through the heart and coming into mountain pose. Pausing in your mountain with fluid breath. Feeling into the four corners of your feet, rooting. The arch is lifting. Up the length of the legs. Up the length of the spine. Let the hot air balloon lift you and the shoulder girdle relax away from the lift. And let's step the feet wide again. Okay, so this time we're going to come into Trikonasana. And so align yourself heel to heel. And then let's open again into that same star pose, palms up. letting your arms relax away from the ears. Feel a buoyancy and lift from these side bodies we've awakened up the outer shoulder blade. Palms down, eyes of the elbows up. Let's bring the right hand to the hip and stretch the left arm forward and pause. Try to really find length from this hip crease up through the armpit, up the arm, and find the right shoulder blade on the back body. And then lightly bring the fingertips down to where you can keep that spine long. Stretch out through the top of the head. Lengthen the spine and have space between the vertebrae be more important than touching down lower towards the floor. Opening the upper arm. Let's create wings from arm to arm. And only lower as much as you can keep length in that lower side body. Fluid breath. Now let's look down at the floor and let the neck crease rest back up towards the sky and in towards the eyeballs, the backs of the eyeballs. And then let's let the gaze look out and let the head and the neck crease rest back. Make sure your neck feels comfortable. And then perhaps the gaze can turn skyward. But if that strains the neck, come back to one of the previous motions. Energy runs up the calves, through the knees, down the shins, so we don't hyperextend. We ground the four corners of the feet, and then lengthening the spine, we float back up to start pose. And we turn in from the left femur bone and turn the right femur bone out. And we float the arms up, palms up, and rest the backs of the arms as if they could rest on water and broaden from fingertip to fingertip. And then turn the palms down, back hand to the hip, right arm reaching long, and pause. Check in with the four corners of each foot, the energy running up the calves, through the knees, down the shins. And then keeping that right side body long, bring the right hand lightly to the leg wherever it reaches. Just make sure you're not hyperextending that knee. Draw the left shoulder blade onto the back and then open the wing. Try to feel into both arm bones integrating into their shoulder socket. So the right arm bone may want to pop forward. See if you can draw it back and use it as support under the side body. Long side bodies, we use that side strengthening we were developing earlier. Fluid breath. Grounding down to the outer heel of the back foot. Let's take another deep inhale into the whole circumference of the lowest ribs. And then on your next exhale, float back up, turning the front femur bone in and stepping together. Hot air balloon lifting you skyward. Fluid breath. Okay, so I'd like to take us next into Ardha Chandrasana, and I want to give you a couple options. The first option would be to come to a wall, and I have a little bit of wall here that could go behind my buttocks. I could use a chair forward of me or a block and come down and lift up. Here, let me turn my screen this way. Okay. So the wall is then behind my buttocks. I step my foot out away from the wall a little bit so that the block can come to the pinky toe side of that standing foot. And then I lift and open. And it's just really nice to have a wall behind you to support the opening, because what we're really working on is awareness in the upper body today. But you can also, if you want to take a little more challenging option, bring a chair in and step back from the chair a little ways so that you can have that long side body when you bring your hand onto the seat and unfold your Ardha Chandrasana there. So I'd like to begin with one of those two. We're going to do the pose twice. So then if you want to come to a block and try it that way, you can. Okay? So feel free to try it how you would like. And those of you I can see, I can offer some cueing too. So as you're ready, I'll guide you into the first side. You step back from the chair And let's bend the front knee a little bit. Look at the standing foot and make sure it's pointing straight ahead. It'll have the tendency to want to turn in towards the big toe. And then come up onto that foot and lengthen from hip crease, just like in Trikonasana, to armpit. And then we draw the upper hip over the bottom hip. It may not open all the way for a lot of us. Shoulder blades align. We reach out through the lengthened leg and float the top arm up, finding the shoulder blades on the back body. Use that lower side body long. Beautiful, Carol. Nice long side body. Beautiful, Mira. Now, can your heads rest back and can you traction from the base of the skull, keeping that neck long, keeping the lifted leg alive. Fluid breath into the whole circumference of the torso. And then as you come out, bring the hand back to the hip. Bend the knee and thoughtfully float up and out of the pose. Beautiful work, both Carol and Mira. And step together and pause in mountain pose with your breath. Fluid breath. Expansive breath. And then let's take the prop around to the other side. If you're using a block, you can hold it in your hand and take the block forward if you're at the wall. Okay, so again, check in with the alignment of the foot that you're stepping forward. And then remember, you want the hand back behind the pinky toe side a little bit. And then we want to lengthen from hip crease to armpit as we come up and place the hand on the chair or the block. And then we unravel the pose from the core, lifting pelvis up, unfurling the arm, connecting the shoulder blades across towards one another on the back body, lifting the shoulder blades away from the buttocks, away from the back hip pockets, and lengthening the base of the skull away from the shoulder girdle. Can you be really aware of shoulder girdle, stretching open through the arms, and then bring the top hand back to your hip and let yourself bend the front knee and float back up. Good. Very nice, Carol. Okay, so let's try this again. You can use the same prop if you'd like, or you can try a block. So whatever works best for you and your body, you can stay with the wall, or if you were on the wall and now you want to try the chair, you can. So do what's best for you. Okay, again, front foot is forward, knee bends, the block can move forward and then out from the pinky toe side. It's like the knight move in chess. And then you can float the back leg up and open across the pelvis, lengthen through the spine, through the lifted leg, and unfurl the arms skyward. Find the humerus bones integrating in towards the shoulders. Beautiful, Mira. And then here too, you can play with the head and neck alignment. And if you'd like to, you can look out and see, can I relax the head? Play a little in your own body with where can I find alignment and relaxation in the neck and head? Good. Pressing out through all four corners of the lifted leg. Fluid breath. Ask yourself, am I able to keep the spine lengthened when I come down to a block? Fluid breath. And then as you're ready, slowly make your way out of the pose, thoughtfully awake in the upper body. Good. And pause with your breath. Mountain pose. Can the hot air balloon lift you from the palate? Can your spine dangle down, pelvis heavy, legs dangling out of pelvis to just touch on to the root, to the earth, to root. Shoulder girdle broad, center of the heart and inner collarbones gently lifting. Shoulder blades like loving hands on the back ribs. Right here, let's open the arms wide, palms out, palms forward, and feel into the shoulder blades on the back body. Now let the hands reach way out away from the body, drawing the humerus bone out of the socket. Feel that disintegration. And then draw the humerus bones into the socket and feel that integration. And then draw in too hard, like you're grasping, like those people who shake hands too hard. And then release back into what feels like a healthy, conscious integration. And now gently lift the shoulder blades away from the pelvis without bringing them up towards the ears. So lengthen the side bodies without shortening the neck. Lift the low ribs away from the pelvis, that may help. And then release the arms. See if you can maintain that consciousness through the torso as you come into the other side. So go ahead and set yourselves up with whichever prop you want to use. Remember the desire to keep the length in the side bodies. So it's interesting because in my classes, I do a lot of watching students to give feedback as we come into it. But in these classes, we have a lot of cameras turned off. So come into the pose, find length, beautiful length, Carol. See if the upper leg wants to lift and lengthen out of the pelvis, grounding into the four corners of the foot. Fluid breath into the whole circumference of the abdomen, the rib cage. And then an exhale. And as you're ready, float yourself back out of the pose. Nice integration there of the arm bones. Beautiful awake upper arm and leg. Fluid breath. Okay. Mountain pose. Can you rest your head and shoulders and sacrum back as if you were in Shavasana? Can you let the body rest back, front body resting onto back body? Can you broaden across the shoulder girdle and find the shoulder blades as loving hands on the back body? Gently lifting the low back ribs away from the pelvis. Inhaling the arms up. Or resting the palms on water. Can you feel the outer shoulder blades connection into the arm? Integrate the arm bones into the torso. Feel for the upper body. Can you relax around the neck? Play with how to relax those muscles. It may be a subtle movement of the head. It may be an allowing a heaviness to the arms. And release. Okay, I'm gonna have us come into a restorative posture now. And so you may want your chair ready in a bit, but first we're going to come onto our blanket roll over our blanket roll. Now, if your thoracic spine is really tight, let your blanket roll be small and bring in a pillow, okay? So that you don't have too much of an arch. But if you do have a more comfortable thoracic back bend, you can have a larger roll to your blanket, okay? And then you may want, if you have a tight range of motion in the shoulders, you may want a couch pillow or some blocks to rest your wrists on. You can even bring blocks in, and if you have a couch pillow or a bolster, you could put that on top of the blocks. And then here's where we're going. We're bringing the shoulder blades onto the blanket roll, and we're tractioning the base of the skull with the thumbs, the head resting heavily into the hands. And we come up and over the blanket roll so that the low tips of the shoulder blades end up uphill and the tops of the shoulder blades downhill over the blanket roll. And then we inhale and take the arms up and over so that the wrists can rest on the bolster if we need that. Now, if you feel like, oh, this is too much in my lower back, you can also bring a blanket under your sacrum. We ground into the feet, lift the sacrum, lengthen the tailbone, set the sacrum back down. And then we can lengthen the legs out if we like. Alternately, we could bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open wide. And you could place blocks under the knees. So it kind of depends on what you want for your body today. If you're needing a hip opener, you can try the Baddha Konasana. If you just want to concentrate on the length we've been working on in class, long legs, length up the side bodies, and then we relax into the posture. Fluid breath. If your legs are long, the feet can fall open. Ujjayi breath, the ah washing into the body and the ha washing out. Gentle inhale and exhale. Breathing in all that is. Awareness expanding as we quiet into the deep part of the practice. Can you feel your pulses and your heartbeat? Beneath the mind, can you feel into the vastness that interconnects us all? Inhaling into the heart. Exhaling, relaxing over the bolster or blanket roll. Welcoming, opening, if that feels comfortable to you. And then let's gently walk the feet back in. Bring the hands under the head, supporting the lift and rolling ourselves over. And then let's open our blanket. And it's in this big quarter. And let's roll it the thin way so that we have a blanket roll like this that can run along the spine. And then let's bring that in near the chair and bring a pillow up in a T over the blanket roll. Now, some people may be longer than their blanket roll, taller. In that case, you could bring in a bolster or a block across the base of the blanket roll to put your sacrum on. For me, I feel more comfortable just with my whole spine from sacrum up on the blanket roll, but some people like the block or bolster at the end. Then we sit onto our blanket roll and roll back, spine along the blanket roll, head resting on the pillow. And we bring our calves up onto the chair. So in this position, we can really relax the head of the arm bones around a thin blanket roll. Release the sides, the muscles that run along the spine over the blanket roll. Let the sacrum settle. Let the forearms, the palms, and the fingers and thumbs relax. And come back just for a few moments to the ujjayi to help us settle in. Like we're a log that just washed up onto a beautiful shore, resting deep into the sand. With each exhale, can you relax a little more into the hug of gravity, into the wet sand? And then can the ujjayi waves grow a little quieter? Can you still feel the three-dimensional quality of the breath, opening the body and then relaxing the body? Can you look for the places inside your own body that may be ready to let go of tension? For me, I carry a lot of tension at the base of my skull, in my jaw, the backs of my eyes, the inside of my pelvis. So in your own body, look for those places, inhaling into them and exhaling. Can you be your own kind and compassionate friend? Understanding the tension and inviting the release of it if you're ready. Can you stay with your body, a loving friend? And even if what we do today is just become aware of where the tension is, holding it with compassion. That's a step towards finding the freedom to letting it go. And then if it's comfortable to you, let the ujjayi fade into quiet breath. into your own expansiveness. And then let's inhale energy gently back into our fingers and toes. And let's pause here and feel the breath fill us three-dimensionally. And then let's slowly begin to release and stretch, taking our time as we slowly unfold back up to a comfortable seat.